Hello, and welcome to Real Person Reviews. I'm Sam, and I'm a real person. And today I want to talk to you about PowerWash Simulator. Now, I've got this on an Xbox Series X, but it's available on multiple platforms. The reason I've got this actually is because I'm considering getting rid of my Game Pass Core subscription because I don't play that much online, so I figured I would check out some of the stuff that's like on offer in the actual Game Pass part of this, since the only reason I had this really was because, well, like Xbox Live Gold, whatever, turned into this as the cheapest option to keep playing stuff online. So, as part of that, I'm going to be sampling this game. Was the first one I decided to check out, and I guess I figured since I beat it anyways, I would do a little review. Although I will say I didn't do 100% of like everything. I didn't do like all the achievements or all of the extras that were in here. I really just did the base offering for like the main campaign mode and dabble a little bit in the other stuff. So there's that. But that's what I did. That's what we've got going on here. So there's that. Just so you have the heads up on that. So I guess if you haven't played it yet and you're still interested, there's this. I guess there'll probably be a written review in the description, but yeah, let's just dive right in. So Power Wash Simulator is basically a game about it's pretty much what you expect. I guess it's about washing stuff. It's power washing dirty things. Essentially, you you go basically. There is like a bit of a plot, I guess, that I admittedly didn't follow that much because it was all just in text flavor stuff anyways. But the main idea is whatever. You're starting up this power washing business, and so you're just getting all these different jobs to wash things for people, these eccentric folk. And there's probably more stuff going on here than I realized because, again, I stopped reading pretty early on. But as far as actual gameplay is concerned, you go into a level and you've usually got something like either like a vehicle or some kind of like area that you're trying to, like a building or a house or something like this, some place that you're trying to clean up, and you would be amazed at how just pretty evenly coated with dirt everything is, but only the things that you need to clean. So you're given this hose, the power washer thing to start washing stuff down. Then right away you have this immediately the weakest hose is what you start with, the weakest washer with 4 attachments. There's basically they're just different like widths of like spray, and the wider the spread on the spray, the weaker the pressure is. The idea being that covering more ground to take care of a thinner layer of dirt versus like having more focused spray and like less area covered but getting in deeper for the more tough ingrained stuff is sort of the idea behind it. So you're trying to find the balance there for what you're doing, but there is no real limit on here, like there's no time limit or there's no like limit on like how much water you need. There's no going back and forth to like do I need to like get more water or do something, whatever. It's really just you're doing it until you're done. So you just kind of walk around the area cleaning things. And you have a little checklist. If you pause, you can see the little to-do list of things you need to clean around the area. And there's, you just kind of walk around and spray things from all these different angles and whatnot until they're clean. It's like a first-person shooter in that sense, I guess, too, you could say. So you can jump and crouch and go prone. You can sprint. There's a little aiming mode you can hit where you're like standing still and you can just moving the nozzle around from where you are a little bit more rather than moving your entire vision the whole way. There's also a button you can hit to have it constantly spray instead of having to hold a button to spray out the water. There's that. And as you're cleaning things, you notice a little bar on your little heads-up display that like a big white bar that goes down for each item that like you're pointing at. So when that goes all the way down to nothing, it's fully cleaned. That means you have all the dirt off of it. Usually it's not 100% of the dirt. It's usually pretty close to, but not actually every single pixel of dirt. Once you're basically at 100% of it clean, then it'll flash white for the whole object, and then you'll get money for cleaning that object. And once you finish cleaning everything around the whole place, then you'll get I mean, like, it's like a star rating as you're going as well. The more things you clean, your stars will go up. So there's also, you're getting stars for your jobs. You can stop this at any point and go to other jobs as well, and either come back to these later if you feel like it, or restart them if um, you can restart, even like restart partially cleaned objects, I guess, too, to like do that. So you don't have to do a full restart, but like if you're having trouble seeing like what thing did I not clean yet, that's a way to kind of help with that. But once you're done with the job, you got 100% of it done, then it'll give you a little time lapse of all the things that you just did, and then you'll be usually offered more jobs as you're cleaning and stuff. Just the amount of stuff you've cleaned, the amount of dirt removed, you'll be offered new jobs to do. Actually, might be due to stars as well. I guess I'm not sure exactly which thing triggered it, but one of those two things does it. And in the menu, like between jobs, you can do, or I guess at any point you can pull the menu up to do this. You can also go to the shop to buy things. There are some cosmetic things too, but mainly the things you can look at are stuff like having better washers, so it's just easier to clean things with them. You can get some other nozzles, like that make it easier to clean stuff. You can also get extensions for this, so that you don't have to be as close to things to start cleaning them. Um, and I mean, they're also like you can get like particularly you can get a soap nozzle and then buy different cleaning solutions, and these are good for this is like a pretty huge area of effect that you're spraying with, but it's limited because you have to buy each of these cleaning solutions. And they're like consumables. So they're for different types of it, because when you're looking at items, you can see what kind of material they're made out of when you're aiming at them. So there's like like wood or metal, or is it a multi-surface, is it a plastic, whatever. You can use that to like clean everything there. It can help more effectively clean those areas for you. But also certain things require a certain number of stars for you to unlock as well before you can purchase them. So there's sort of that feedback, gameplay loop of doing these things, of like doing jobs, cleaning stuff, getting money, buying more stuff to make it easier to keep cleaning stuff, and so on. As you're going on, things will become more difficult as well. Items become like more intricate. There are larger areas you have to clean. That means there's a lot more stuff to cover before something is complete and to like consider. There's also lots of really tiny things that are harder to see and require you to really get 100% of those pretty well covered in order to get them done. You'll have to start also probably dealing with things like little step stool, you have a ladder, and you have like a scaffolding you can move around. And you'll probably need to use these in certain levels to actually clean these larger objects, especially for up above things or really tall things. You'll need this more. While extensions can help with that too, it kind of just depends. But that's another aspect of it as well. Is that using these things. So there actually is some level of it's not just like random levels. There is some level of progression of it does get more difficult with things getting bigger and smaller, which actually surprised me. I thought was actually a pretty cool thing to see. It's not just random levels. It is actually like a game of okay, yes, it is getting more difficult now with bigger places, more intricate things, mixing in more detailed things with larger things that have a lot more to cover, rather than everything being so sectionable and easy to do. There's also a few other extra helpful things you can do with these, like a show dirt button to flash all the dirt that's on the screen, so you can see what you need to spots you're maybe missing that are hard to see. There's also because sometimes it is pretty tough to see certain things on textured surfaces, or if there's light and dark spots anyways. There's also a what am I thinking of? There's a in that once you're near the end, there's a little to-do list that pops up in the corner, but it doesn't always pop up depending on what you're doing. But you can go into your to-do list at any point to see what you need to do and see how much of something you've cleaned or whatever. If you're missing something, you can actually select it, and it'll make that whole item flash for you in the game, so you can more easily find the thing you're supposed to be looking for. So they do give you a lot of ways to narrow down what you're trying to do, and make it easier to actually finish the thing. But other than that, that's pretty much the loop. And also, I will say the only real downsides to this, I think, are just that essentially I pretty much never use the super big nozzle attachment, because it just was never useful, because it never cleaned anything. It was too weak. So all these things can probably be situationally useful, I think. Other than really that, it seems like it was almost never useful, because I always have to go over things multiple times anyways, and it would take so much more time than just using a smaller one with more pressure to just make sure that when I go over something, I actually get it. And I also don't really like that the cleaners are because they were you have to restock them all the time, and they're eating into the money you're getting. You're like, well, I don't really need to do that. So like, it's just gonna waste some of this like abusing on other stuff. But I do think the campaign itself is paced really well, and to the point where like, yeah, you get some cool unlocks and stuff, and by the end of it, there's only not like a ton of levels at the end, but enough where like when you get the best stuff and you're like all equipped, you still have some stuff to do with that, which is pretty nice. And then there are bonus levels. I tried these, a few of them, but I kind of petered out during them because basically the bonus levels are like a similar thing, but they don't feed off of like your progress in the career mode. So like you're just given a washer and attachments for your things when you go into it, and certain like cleaning solutions or whatever. They just kind of give you the loadout that you're going to be cleaning the thing with. So it's still like satisfying to do like normally. Like I mean the big thing here is it's not like a challenging game. It's like it's about the kind of like sort of OCD methodical. Like I'm going to go clean all of the pixels on the things that shouldn't really be fun, but for some reason it is. I don't know how this game is a hit, but it is. They do that. But here it's like you don't have the same idea of like I feel like I'm using the stuff that I earned anymore. I'm just using whatever they throw at me. You also can't like save and come back to these if you go like you can't save and go to a different job and then come back. If you move to a different bonus job, it'll erase all the progress on the previous one. So if you didn't complete it, you'll have to start from the beginning, which is also weird. I don't know why it's that much different. But these are like free add-on things that you just got. So I guess maybe it's something to do with how that operates and whatever. And then I honestly didn't even really try the or like the challenge levels, because the challenge levels are just things you've already played, but either going for like these records, like these medals or whatever you get for like performance by cleaning them with as little water as you can, or trying to clean them in as fast a time as you can. And I guess that doesn't really feel like a very fun, relaxing thing to do. It feels like it kind of goes against what I liked about this. So that, coupled with the fact that some of these achievements are also just kind of tedious to have to go back and get without doing them in the first place. A lot of the achievements I just didn't bother with because it was like, oh, I thought about getting full achievements. But, like I say, some of these are just like, complete these levels, do this level by cleaning all these things first, or cleaning this thing last. I'm like, I don't want to replay these levels. So that's part of the fun, is like seeing what stuff looks like when it's like going from everything like dirty to like, oh no, it's all clean again. Some levels are more fun than others, but it's like that's kind of the thing. It's like I've already seen this, I already know what it looks like. I don't want to do it again, which is why the DLC stuff is probably more enticing than doing something like this. So if you didn't go for the achievements immediately, maybe don't bother. Although I will say, yes, there was one really annoying level I played. Probably the worst level was the mansion level, because that's like the only level where they kind of forced me to do something I didn't really want to do, where you clean like the front of the gates or whatever of this mansion, and those are a little annoying to clean anyways, but then you have to clean like the mansion itself, but you can't go past the gates, so you have to get an extension, which I guess technically I could have got the shittiest washer extension for free. I didn't know that. I just got the one for the one I was actually currently using, and then you have to use that and like hit stuff in this like super far away, and you have to use like the smallest washer thing, whatever nozzle, to hit stuff because it's hard to see and hard to get every little speck because all the little pieces. It sucks, and it's like constantly if you're too close to an object and you can't shoot it, your gun pulls back. So of course, since you're shooting through like a gate, you have to keep repositioning yourself every few minutes or whatever, to be like, fucking like every other minute you're like, I gotta move over a little bit, get this thing down because I think I got all the dots over here. That level sucks. But some levels are really fun, so like depends on what you like maybe as well. It was at least different, and I do like there were different like aspects to them. Like some levels have moving parts to them and like doing other things, and so like interesting set pieces. Some reused areas of like showing progress of like you've played multiple places, like things at this like amusement park or something. Like, I don't know, that stuff was cool. But yeah, I really just kind of ran out of enthusiasm after the main campaign, and I won't be doing the DLC. I might eventually check out the sequel, but I don't know. But yes, the main game here, I think at least, is very, very good. And it's really that's all you're doing. It's not really much more to say. I probably said way more than I need to say for this, right? You spray things until they're clean. You just play for a couple minutes. You're probably looking at the gameplay already from this, and you're like, oh, I get it. And you're like, yeah, you already know right away if you're like, that looks kind of fun, or if you're like, I don't care. So pretty much that's PowerWash Simulator. I don't really have a whole lot more to say about this other than it's surprisingly fun. It's not going to be for everybody if you want something like more challenging or action oriented or with really good story. It's kind of just a weird thing that's like more unique. You don't really see a lot of games like this. They're not taking the simulator part too seriously. They're making sure they're just doing the part that's like fun and satisfying. It's like I'm not worried about water physics and how much water am I using or like have to grab like buckets or something or doing all this complicated stuff. It's like no, you just walk around doing this thing and it's like this weird OCD satisfying like thing to do. It was fun, and I don't know, like that's. I mean, like I say, if you saw the gameplay for the footage part, you already kind of know at this point if like you're probably gonna like that or not. But I don't know if there's a demo out there for this or not. But I guess again, it is on Game Pass. If you have any version of Game Pass, even Game Pass Core, you can check this out on Xbox at least, and you can see if you like it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is the kind of thing I'll necessarily need to buy unless I really get an itch to play it later, because I've kind of worn out. It's kind of worn out its welcome for me. But the campaign itself, just playing that loop, that's really good, and that's like the main meat of the thing. I like that. I definitely would recommend checking that out if it looks interesting. I think you'll like it. That's about it, I think. And like I said, I might try the sequel at some point because that actually came out apparently this year, which that's kind of cool. That just happened to happen. So, that's something to consider. I don't know if that's worth. I mean, what am I gonna say for the sequel? Yeah, guys, the first game, you do it again, but we'll see. I probably didn't even need to do this review because everybody's probably already seen this already. But whatever. I played it. It was fun, and it's something different that was also fun. And I really just like also the idea that this again. I think if somebody pitched this idea, I'd be like, no, that sounds dumb. But when you actually play it, you're like, no, that's pretty fun. It's kind of similar to like the whole like I'm trying to ink every area in Splatoon, on these levels, even though I don't get anything for it on like single player, or like I'm trying to like clean up every little last bit of goop on the beach in Super Mario Sunshine, like stuff like that. Or like it's kind of like that, but that's the point of the point of the game. You actually are rewarding you for it. So that sounds fun. That's my review. You watch things, and if it looks fun, it probably is. It could have been like a 2-minute review.